Alrighty everyone, thanks for joining me. This is your host ID Jester. Looking at our next Dominion expansion here. This one happens to be expansion number 8, Guilds, which now, as you see, we've already looked at Cornucopia. I believe that was expansion... Oh, what expansion number was that? That's a great question. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Expansion number 5. And now they have put expansion 5 with expansion 8 into a box, as you can see here. So if you're interested in picking up either one of these expansions, you can get it for the price of a regular expansion now, with both of them, Guilds and Cornucopia. So let's take a look at what they have inside the box. Obviously, you're going to get all of your stuff for Cornucopia as well. We're not going to really go over that right now, but you're going to get all your stuff for your Guilds and some new super cool stuff. So one of the new mechanics in the Guilds is now you have, each player is going to receive one of these coffers playmats, and during your buy phase, before you buy anything, you may remove tokens here for +1 money each. So each player gets one of their little coffers, and then what you do is you also get these nice little gold coins. They are metal, they're not plastic, which is nice. So good quality coins. When you buy certain cards or do certain things, you're going to get coins and put them on your coffers that then you can later on, if you need to spend them, you can spend them from your coffers. Some cards put tokens on a player's coffers. +1 coffers means add a token to your coffers mat. In a player's buy phase, before buying anything, the player may remove tokens from their coffers for 1 money each. Coin tokens are provided for this. They're not component limited, so you may use pennies if you run out of these or whatever. Coin tokens being used in other ways, such as on the pirate ship map from Seaside, cannot be removed for +1. Just the coin tokens off of these player mats. Coin tokens come from the supply of coin tokens, and they are returned there. They're not taken from other mats or from other players. Coin tokens can only be removed from a player's coffers in that player's buy phase, or when instructed to do so by a card. They cannot be used when buying a card via the promotional card black market. The other thing that the Guilds adds now to the game, the core mechanics of the game, is overpay for cards. You overpay that for the card, then you get like an extra bonus. Some cards can be overpaid for. The cost of these cards have a plus sign next to the coin symbol. A player may pay an additional amount for such a card, and they get an effect based on how much extra was paid. Potions from alchemy can be used to overpay amounts if desired, although this is not always meaningful. Debts from empires cannot be overpaid. Players may choose not to overpay, even though they have extra coins, but cannot choose to overpay. Zero. To overpay, a player actually has to pay more than the cost. The coin used to overpay are going to, after being spent them to overpay, they can't be used then to buy something else. Overpaying happens when a card is bought, which is therefore gained. Players can only overpay for a card when buying it, not when gaining it some other way. Only when you purchase it, buy it. The plus symbol is just a reminder, a card with the plus in the skill costs, as it normal costs for all purposes. For example, if a player plays Haggle from Hinterland that buys a masterpiece, overpaying, Haggle will still gain them a card which costs less than 3. The cost of Masterpiece, similarly, Masterpiece could then be the Bane card for Young Witch since it costs 3. Reducing the cost of cards like bridge from intrigue does not interact with overpaying. For example, if you pay 5 bridges and have a total money to spend of 5, Herald would cost 0, but if you bought one, the most you could overpay for it would still be 5. Hopefully, I know when they start referencing other cards and stuff, unless you're very, very familiar with those cards, you're not going to really have that excellent, information about it. So hopefully we can look at some of these cards. If there's any questions about it, I would recommend you just pop in some of our previous episodes if you're looking for some of that information on some of the other cards. Like we've already gone over Alchemy. We've already gone over, I can't remember, did we do, no, we did not do Empires yet. Hinterlands, we just did Hinterlands a couple episodes ago, so you can look at some of those other cards and see how they interact with the overpay mechanic. So here is the, again, if you buy the big box set with both Guilds and Cornucopia, you get all your different cards plus your randomizers, which are in here. That's not the randomizers. Where are the randomizers? Probably put the randomizers together somewhere else. Here they are. So you get all your randomizers as well for all the cards in both sets. Should get your nice coffers, although, you could just create your own little mat. I mean, this is just a mat. I mean, basically. Then you can use any kind of tokens or coins that you have laying around. Again, the main theme with Guilds is that you'll be able to use coins to save them to purchase things later, and the overpaying of cards as well. So let's go ahead and jump in to our online resource, which I find it to be a little bit easier for you guys to see all the cards and everything. Let's see if I have, nope. Let me capture this window. For some reason I don't have that. Alright, so let's see here. If we just boop, like that. There we go. Alrighty, so let's take a look at said cards. So we can turn the lights off here so I can actually see things, so I don't have these bright lights in my eyes. You can see with Guilds, I'm going to move my microphone over here as well. With Guilds, there's only, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 cards. Oh, so there's not a ton of cards. That's why they combined it with Cornucopia to make it a big box edition. So let's check them out and see what we have here. So we have a 4-cost card advisor here. Let's see what the old advisor has to say. Alright, it's a 4-cost action plus 1 action. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. The player to your left chooses one of them. Discard that card and put the rest into your hand. If you do not have 3 cards after shuffling, just reveal what cards you can. No matter how many you reveal, the player to your left chooses one of them for you to discard, and the remaining cards go into your hand. Alright, pretty self-explanatory there. Let's check out the Baker. The Baker is a 5-cost action. Gives you +1 card, +1 action, +1 coffers. So again, when you purchase this card, you're going to add. Well, let me just double check that. You draw a card, you get +1 action, and you add a token to your coffer's mat. Yep. In games using this card, each player starts the game with a token on their coffer. This includes games using the promotional card Black Market, in which Baker is in the Black Market deck. So during setup, oh yes, because it says there, during setup, each player gets +1 coffers. So when this card is in the kingdom, everybody's going to start with a coin in their coffers. And then, of course, when you buy this, you're going to end up with putting a coin in your coffer as well. Cool. So that is the baker. Let's look at the coffer. No, let's look at the butcher, actually. The butcher is a 5 cost action plus 2 coffers. So you're going to add 2 coins to your coffers. You may trash a card from your hand. If you do, remove any number of tokens from your coffers and gain a card costing up to the cost of the trash card plus 1 per token removed. So you trash a card from your hand. First, you add 2 tokens to your coffer. Then you may trash a card from your hand and remove any number of tokens from your coffer. The number of tokens you remove can be 0. If you trashed a card, you gain a card costing up to the cost of the trash card plus the number of tokens you removed. For example, if you trash an estate and remove 6 tokens to gain a province, you could trash another butcher and remove 0 tokens to gain a duchy. You can remove the tokens you just added. Removing tokens for this ability doesn't give you money to spend. It just changes what cards you can gain with this ability. Yeah. Cool. So you get some coffers. Then you can trash a card. And then whatever the cost of that card plus 1 per every coin you trashed or removed from your coffers, you're going to get a nice card out of that. So cool. All right. We have the butcher, the baker, and now we have the Candlestick Maker. Alrighty. You know what? Let me bring up my other window over here because I don't know if anybody's arrived to chat with us or not. The Candlestick Maker is a 2 cost action. It just simply gives you an action, a buy, and a coffer. So you're costing you 2, but you're going to get 1 to put on your coffer. It's going to give you an extra buy and an extra action. Pretty easy. A butcher, the baker, and the Candlestick Maker. Isn't that cute that they have all 3 of them in the... All right, let's move on. Doctor. 3 cost action. Name a card. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Trash the matches. Put the rest back in any order. And then you can see it has that dark line. Underneath that line is, when you buy this, you may overpay for it. For each dollar or money you overpay, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, trash it, discard it, or put it back. Aha. So you're going to name a card, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and trash any card that matches, and put the rest of the cards back in any order. And then, of course, when you buy this, you may overpay for it. For each money you spend, you overpay. For each coin you overpay, look at the top card of your deck, trash it, discard it, and put it back. Cool. When you pay for this, you name a card, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Trash each of those cards that has his name and put the other cards back on your deck in any order. Do you not have to name a card, just you do not have to name a card being used this game. So, I mean, you could just say Corvette, you know. It doesn't really matter what you say if you don't want to try to trash any of your cards. When you buy this, for each extra coin you pay over the cost, you look at the top card of your deck and either trash it, discard it, or put it back on top. If you overpay more than 1, you may do different things for each card you look at. And you will look at the same card again if you put it back on top. For example, if you bought Doctor for 7, you would look at the top 4 cards. You might end up first trashing a copper, then discarding a province, then putting a silver back on top, then putting that silver back on top again. So lots of interaction there with the Doctor. Interesting. All right, then we have the Herald. Herald is a 4 cost action. It gives you +1 card. +1 action and reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an action, you play it. And then underneath the black line, when you buy this, you may overpay for it. For each gold coin you overpay, put a card from your discard pile onto your deck. So that is the Herald. When you play this, first draw a card and get +1 action, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an action card, play it. This is not optional. Playing this action card does not use up one of your actions you play for the turn. If Herald pays a duration card, such as Caravans from Seaside, the Herald is still discarded normally at the end of the turn. When you buy this, you can put one card from your discard pile on top of your deck for each extra coin you paid over the cost. For example, if you buy Herald for, say, 6, you will put 2 cards from your discard pile on top of your deck. This card lets you look through your discard pile. Normally, you cannot do this. You cannot look through your discard pile first to see how much you want to overpay. And once you overpay, you must put the appropriate number of cards on top of your deck if possible. If you overpay enough to put more cards on your deck than there are cards in your discard pile, you just put all of your discard pile onto your deck. You may not look through your discard pile if you buy Herald without overpaying for it. So, yeah, important rules that a lot of people don't realize about the discard pile. Normally, you cannot look through your discard pile. But if you use this card, it allows you to look through your discard pile. You cannot look through the discard pile first to see how many cards you have or how many cards you want to overpay for. You have to remember, that's part of, I guess, Dominion core, is remembering the cards that you've used. And it separates the rookies from the better players, I guess. Alright, so that is the Herald. Let's move on to the Journeyman. 5 cost action. Name a card, reveal cards from your deck until you reveal 3 cards with that name. Put those cards in your hand and discard the rest. When you draw these, this draws you 3 cards that are not a particular card. First, name a card. It does not have to be a card being used in this game. Then reveal cards from the top of your deck until you revealed 3 cards that are not the named card. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Name a card, reveal cards from your deck until you revealed 3 cards without the name. Ah, there we go. Then reveal cards from the top of your deck until you have revealed 3 cards that are not the named card, nor have revealed all of your cards after shuffling. Put the revealed cards that were not the named card in your hand and discard the rest. So again, you could just say, witch, or you could just say horse trader, or something from a card from a different set that's not in play. And then, of course, you would just be drawing the 3 cards, because you're for sure not going to get the card that you've named. So, tricky. All right, let's go on to a masterpiece here. It's a masterpiece. 3 cost treasure. Gets you 1 big fat coin. When you buy this, you may overpay for it. For each coin you overpay, gain a silver. So that is the masterpiece. When you buy this, you gain a silver for each extra coin you pay over the cost. For example, if you buy a masterpiece for, say, 6, you would gain 3 silvers. All right, and let's look at the Merchant Guild. 5 cost action. Gives you +1 buy, +1 money. And while this is in play, when you buy a card, +1 coffers. The Merchant Guild. When you pay for this, you get +1 buy and +1 money. While this is in play, anytime you buy a card, You also add a token to your coffer's mat. Remember that you may only remove tokens from your coffer mat prior to buying anything, so you'll not be able to immediately use the added tokens. This ability is cumulative. If you have 2 merchant guilds in play, each card you buy will get you 2 tokens. However, if you play a merchant guild 3 times, but only have 1 in play, such as because of Throne Room, you only get 1 token when you buy a card. Alright, that is the Merchant Guild, the Plaza. +4 cost action gives you +1 card, +2 actions, and you may discard a treasure for +1 coffers. First you draw a card, then you get +2 actions, then you may discard a treasure. You can discard the card you drew if it's a treasure. If you discard a treasure, you add a token to your coffer's mat. So that is the Plaza. The Soth Slayer. That is a 5 cost attack action, gain a gold. Each other player gains a curse. If they did, draws a card. Okay. If there is no gold left, you don't get to gain 1. If there are not enough curses left to go around, deal them out in turn order, starting with the player to your left. Each player who gains a curse also draws a card. This is not optional. A player who did not gain a curse, whether due to having the curses running out or due to some other reason, does not draw a card. A player who uses Watchtower from the prosperity to trash the curse did gain a curse and so draws a card. A player who uses Trader from Hinterland to gain a silver instead does not gain a curse. Did not gain a curse and so does not draw a card. So unless they draw the actual curse, they don't get the card. All right, winding up already. Stone Mason. Oh, this one's got a lot of text with it. It's a 2 cost action. Trash a card from your hand. Gain 2 cards, each costing less than it. And when you buy this, you may overpay for it. If you do, gain 2 action cards, each costing the amount you overpaid. So when you play this, trash a card from your hand and gain 2 cards, each costing less than the card you trashed. Trashing a card is not optional. If you do not have any cards left in your hand to trash, you do not gain any cards. The 2 cards you gain can be different or the same. For example, you could trash a gold to gain a duchy and a silver. Gaining cards is not optional. If you trashed a card, if there is no cheaper cards in the supply, for example, say you trash a copper, you do not gain anything. The cards you gained are gained 1 at a time. This may matter with cards that do other things, such as an inn from Hinterlands. When you buy this, you may choose to overpay for it. If you do, you gain 2 action cards, each costing exactly the amount you overpaid. The action cards can be different or the same. For example, if you buy Stonemason for 6, you could gain 2 Heralds. If there are no cards with the appropriate cost in the supply, you do not gain any. Overpaying with a potion from alchemy will let you gain cards with potions in the cost. If you choose not to overpay, you will not gain any cards from that ability. It is not possible to use it to gain action cards costing 0. Bum, bum, bum. And last but not least, the taxman cometh 4 cost attack action. The taxman, you may trash a treasure from your hand. Each other player with 5 or more cards in hand discards a copy of it, or they reveal a hand without the card. Gain a treasure into your deck costing up to 3 more than the trashed card. So you may trash a treasure card from your hand. This is optional. If you do trash a treasure, each other player with at least 5 cards in hand discards a copy of it from their hand or reveals a hand with no copies of it, and you gain a treasure costing up to 3 more than the trashed treasure, putting it on top of your deck. You do not have to gain a more expensive treasure. You may gain a treasure with the same cost or a cheaper treasure. You have to gain a card if you trashed one, though, if possible. Bum, bum, bum. So that is the guilds with the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. The doctor, the herald, the journeyman, the advisor, the masterpiece, the merchant guild, the plaza, the sloth slayer, the stonemason, and the taxman. Plus all of your coffers and your little baggie of coins inside your Dominion box if you buy the big box expansion. That's what you can expect. So lots of new ways, new cards to use. And hopefully we'll get a chance to check out some of these expansions here and show you how they actually play online. But right now we're just going over the basic cards and trying to finish that up. So this was expansion number expansion number 8, the guilds. So we got a few more expansions to go and we'll have completed our whole list. Thank you so much for coming out. Thanks. And we hope to see you soon. Until then, everyone have a great evening and we'll talk to you guys then. Take care.